welcome to episode 3 of Ask Ashley. This time we'll talk some flower with Miss December 2010 and our friend Ashley Hobbs.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Last time we talked all about
that sounded like clapping. That was your dog ears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right after welcome, and then it was like
great
clapping.
Timing.
Applause clap. That's perfect. I like it.
Way to go. Way to go.
Yeah.
So last time we talked all about eating. This time we're going to talk a little bit about smoking. And
Yes.
first of all, I got to know, since you're the younger generation, you're much younger than we are. Is flower the term for your generation? Because like the old schoolers don't want to call it flower.
Yep. My parents still call it pot. So
Yeah. Like
flower is a technical term they use in the dispensaries. So yeah.
So that's that when it kind of started with dispensaries.
I would say, yeah, they're trying to make it more scientific, make it sound a little bit more appealing, I guess. Pot,
weed,
corn, whatever people call it.
Get a little away from the stigma of pot from the
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flower's definitely the prettiest.
It is.
And like you said, technically the most correct. So it is the flower of the plant. So
technically, yes.
So let's start talking indica sativa. What's the difference? I know we've kind of touched on it before, but let's get a little deeper into the differences between indica and sativa.
So I follow a bunch of different people on Instagram and Twitter, just putting out their own opinions and their own like scientific knowledge about cannabis in general. And oh, sorry, my child is making so much noise. I got her deer antlers and she's obsessed. So she's just chewing away on the deer antlers. She's not shy. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. She's going to be part of the show one way or another.
Yep.
Friday night, the dogs were fighting over deer.
Antlers. Yeah, they were. Yeah.
We were at a friend's house.
Oh, they're upset.
A friend's house. They're all bassets.
Yeah, basset hounds. Yeah,
4 of them.
Cute.
Yeah.
Big ears. Oh, anyway. So I was listening to one of his little kind of like rants, and it's all upon your own depiction. Most of the time, the labels that they were given, sativa, indica, hybrid, those were given based off of the terpene profile that the flower has. So the terpene profile are like those little crystals or those little trichomes on the plant that give them different flavors and different effects. So that's how you get certain terpenes will give you the energized, happy, social butterfly effect. And then you have the indicas or the myrcenes. Certain myrcene is one of the terpenes that give you more of that relaxed feeling, that calm. It's great for anxiety or like sleep, but it is also most people say indicas tend to give them a higher munchy effect, whereas the sativa terpenes, they have a tendency to be more on the appetite suppressing spectrum.
Interesting.
Well, I was going to just say, is the munchies really a thing, or is it just because it tastes better? I've read both.
They say a whole bunch of stuff is better when you're high.
Well,
that's true too.
But I'm strictly a sativa user, and I always wondered about that because I'm like, I never get the munchies. I don't know what people are talking about. I don't ever get the munchies when I'm high.
Yeah. So, see, I'm an indica user. I'm a huge. Back in the day, I used to use sativas for when I would work and be a high functioning stoner. But nowadays, it's all indicas because I'm sitting on the couch relaxing at home or hanging out with friends playing cornhole. So it's more of like a calming effect. But those ones, I always like have to prepare a snack before I smoke because I'm always like, I need to eat. I will sit there and eat a whole box of dried cereal. That's how bad the munchies get.
Okay,
so it's a thing.
Before we go any further, him and I have had this discussion about like all the things that we've been invited to go do by different people on the podcast and which one would be the most. I just heard you say playing cornhole in Hawaii high, and I'm thinking that just moved to the top of the list.
And our cornhole machines or the little mechanisms, they're light up at night.
Oh.
Yeah, we were just playing last night.
Nice. I love cornhole. I love cornhole.
I love cornhole.
It's a weird thing to say out loud.
You know,
Is there a strain of weed called cornhole yet?
I haven't found it.
All right.
Well, I mean, we can research. That's the thing. But yeah, so and then the hybrid flowers are really just the mix of the two. It depends on the strains that are used to make the hybrids. Back in the day, pot, there was Thai stick, there was like most of like the higher sativa strains, but they were just one specific strain. Nowadays, everything has gotten so scientific that majority of any flower out there is it's a higher percentage of like a hybrid. So there's multiple strains involved in creating that particular strain.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you explain Tide Stick to me? Because my education is from Cheech and Chong movies, and I believe they just said you just tie pot to a stick.
So technically, Thai stick, from what I was told, is it's a flower. It literally comes on a stick, and it has like little buds. That's like a Thai stick, and it's like it's a strain. It's called Thai. I think it's something Thai. I can't remember the exact name, but also they used to put like the rosin or like the shatters that we have now. They would actually put it on that stick, and they would smoke it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Interesting.
Oh, I've always wondered.
Well, it is
The minute
funny.
you said it, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, when you watch a stoner movie like that before you have any idea what they're talking about, and you think you get the movie, and then you're like, I probably missed a lot.
Yeah, I think I watched Dazed and Confused multiple times and caught different references every time.
Yeah, I know. I haven't watched that since I started using THC, so I have to watch it again.
There you go. You go back to that
because it will probably be a lot better.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you're probably gonna think I'm a horrible stoner, but I've actually never seen a full Cheech and Chong movie.
No, I mean,
to be fair, they're all the same.
They are all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were made in the 70s, right?
I can remember in grade school, my mom walking in as us watching it, and none of us smoked. We just never did. We were too young. We didn't know enough about it. And she's like, how can you guys watch them just squawk around saying man all day? And she just walked out in disgust. We're like, we're in there just laughing our asses off. We didn't even know.
You're still losing brain cells. Even though you're not smoking, you're losing the brain cells.
I was.
We have decided that we are we're putting it on the manifestation, the whiteboard. We're getting Tommy Chong on the podcast this year. That's going to happen. So we saw he was on like some small podcast, and we're like, all right, let's ask, see what happens. So
doesn't hurt to ask. The answer's always no unless you ask.
Absolutely.
Like, Absolutely. I'm excited to see that episode.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully.
Good vibes. Send out because to Tommy. You mentioned before the crystals.
Yes.
Now, are they ever together on the same plant? Or are they always separate plants? I mean, can you get those sativa,
indica
crystals on the same flower?
So technically, that would be considered a hybrid, but that would be a highly manufactured plant.
Okay, so not naturally, not like part of it. The bottom part's one. And okay.
Yeah, I mean, and you can tell which. They say that you can tell which flowers or which strain just by the size of their leaves or the color of their leaves, or even like the way that the leaf is shaped itself. So, like the sativas have a tendency to be more of that pointier leaf, and then the indicas are more of a widespread, bigger leaf.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in nature, the only plants that occur are sativa and indica. Anything that's hybrid is created in a lab. I mean, somebody merging two of them together or something.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, unless it's a CBD strain. CBD strains tend to be that they can actually occur naturally by themselves, but it's a completely different I don't want to say species of plant, but it's like a different, you can tell the difference between like a CBD plant and a THC plant.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not too much differences, but if you know what you're looking for, you can tell.
Sure.
Is one easier to grow than the other?
No, not at all.
Same?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that you have to worry about is mold.
I think you're, I think you have a nice spot to grow right out there.
Good.
Yeah. I mean,
no. No, I'm old.
Hard.
What's that?
We grow it in our backyard. So, I mean, natural
Yeah.
sun is the best, but most dispensaries grow all of their weed indoors because it's an easier control. So it's
Okay.
the larger yield. When it's in the sun and it's in the natural elements, you have to deal with the natural
Sure.
element.
Yeah, you're dealing with I mean, utopia for the plant if you're growing it inside with all and you're controlling all the conditions. So
And by her backyard, officers, she meant in Florida. That is where she living right now.
I don't think it's
I
legal
have a
there
medical
either.
card. It's legal.
She's fine. She's fine. She's got a card. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so that allows you to grow it as well
Yes.
as just
you can
buy
grow
it.
7 plants per card here in the state of Hawaii.
7 plants?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I didn't know either. I didn't realize
Yeah.
the card was for both.
Yeah. So the card, you can actually do both. You have a grow site as well as you're able to obtain as a consumer from a dispensary, a licensed dispensary. So
So what strains do you grow at home?
I think I've mostly grown. So I'm like a newbie to the growing. And probably most of the seeds that I've gotten for free. So like, what was that one? I know one of them was a Kush. It's like a more of an indica based. I can't remember the name of it right now. That one didn't come out so well. I had some issues growing it, but most of I've been to like our cannabis expos and they were just handing out like regular seeds with a purchase of a t-shirt. But I've also found seeds in my actual weed that I've purchased.
Oh.
So yeah, those are like, ooh, surprise. Like
Right?
a Cracker Jack box.
So you were
okay, go ahead.
you were saying mold. Is that just because of humidity in Hawaii that are you not able to control humidity and they get moldy?
No, everywhere, not just here.
Okay.
They deal with mold. Mold is, because it's such a, when the plant is growing, it's very tight. And if you ever look at a bud on a flower, it's a very tight, I don't even want to say like, it's a very compressed area on the plant that has a tendency to grow if it doesn't get the right amount of sun to dry it out or too much water. So if it's outside and it's raining a lot, you want to keep it covered, obviously. So they put them in those like greenhouse things. Those
Sure.
yeah. But for the most part, it's everywhere has the opportunity of getting mold. And they even say indoors, because if you don't have proper ventilation, you can also obtain mold that way.
Sure.
And with it here as a licensed dispensary, if you do not hit the certain parameters of their regulations on your flower, like if you hit mold or if it tests for other things, they actually tell you have to throw out the entire batch. You can't sell it.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's another thing is like with them, when it's indoor, you can control the environment a little better, but you do still have those possible issues. So,
So yeah. So at a dispensary, that makes sense that before they sell it, they have to test it. I'm assuming is what you're saying. But you at home, do you test it before you start smoking it? Okay.
I have friends in the lab that I could be like, hey, but it's not cheap. It's not cheap to have them tested. But for the most part, everybody, before they had dispensaries, everybody was just growing it in their backyard anyway.
Sure.
Most of the time, they didn't even know what was growing. And if you grew it, got to a certain point, you cut it, you put it upside down on a clothesline and you let it dry out. And when it's dry enough, you can smoke it, then it's done.
Well, that was my next question. How do you know
when
the
it's
plant's done? And yeah.
I wouldn't say that. You kind of just, it's an art form. The people these days that actually grow weed, it is turned into a scientific art form. And it is like, they've got it down to a science. Like they have these burping bins that they actually put in the dispensary. Sorry, hold on. Can you knock it off? Stop it. I'm trying to work here. She's trying to play. I'm just going to show you real quick.
And she's like, nope, I can't.
She's just laying there. Say hi. She's a fucking kook. I'm sorry. She's a fucking kook. Oh, hello.
No. So
Antler.
cute.
See? Antler.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Heaven.
Yeah.
She's in heaven.
So we have So they have like these burping bins at the dispensary grow house or the dispensary nursery.
Mhm.
And once they harvest it, it gets to a certain, each plant has a gestation, or not a gestation, but like a growth period is anywhere between 3 to 4 weeks per plant, depending
Okay.
on how, if you're growing it in the greenhouse or if you're growing it in the nursery, the nursery's all indoor. So that's going to be like artificial lighting, extra ventilation, and then timed watering or irrigation. And then the greenhouse, they literally just have fans, and they have the open top, like I don't want to say an aviary, but like a greenhouse, like like the enclosed greenhouses.
Yeah.
And then they'll harvest it, and then they will obviously take it off of the full plant, so that it'll just get the actual bud, and then they'll put it in like these plastic bins, and once a day or once a week you go to that bin, and all they do is they just toss it. It's like burping it, so you're like moving it around, and that is supposed to take out a lot of it's like a form of curing. So when you cure it, it actually turns into that little tight nug that you actually smoke, and then from there they trim off any extra bits, and then they take that and they take it in for testing. So it's a good process. It'll take, they don't like to rush things here, which I totally get, quality, but I want to say it'll probably take a good 3, maybe 4 months for a full plant rotation.
Oh,
From
Okay.
from
Ask that.
cloners, yeah,
How long
all the
it
way
takes
finished
from
product.
beginning to start to finish.
sure.
Yeah.
About 3 to 4 months.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then that's not as bad as I would have thought, but
right. And then for us in the dispensaries I've worked in, is if the plant is not registered as a viable plant to sell as a flower, what they'll do is they'll actually we don't like to waste, so they'll take it and they'll actually extract it as a different form, so like a shatter or into a cartridge oil.
Okay.
And then they'll retest it, and with that they actually lose a lot of the like, if it happens to pop up with like if they happen to test with something that they're not allowed to sell with, they're able to salvage most of it to put into a different form, like the concentrates or the cartridges, and still be able to sell it that way, because they'll then test a different regulation. And
Okay.
they're able, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
it does. Now you touch on registering. What do you mean? Right, they have to, every plant they grow, they have to register, or every type of strain, or every time I plot seed.
Every single, has to be registered. Yeah, it's
So the dispensary, I register 100. Maybe that's too many. I don't know what the good number is. 100, but if some get mold, they're out or at commission, so I have to prove like those 3 I didn't sell.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. But thankfully the whole plant is viable, like for use for different forms of cannabis. So you're able to, and that's why we try our best, and well, most of them, they try their best to salvage as much of the plant that they can, to make a viable product. I mean, because at the end of the day, they're trying to make money. But for the most part, it's just the sense of how do I say this? They want it to be a consumable product that's healthy for the patients that are using it.
Yeah.
So if it not test properly, the Department of Health is who regulates everything that they grow or that they produce, to make sure that it's viable and consumable for the patient. So if it's not good, obviously we're just going to toss it. Like it's not worth it, because we don't want to have that going into a patient's body, or
yeah, especially if they really are, I shouldn't say really are sick, but like really, really sick. And,
correct.
And then they're getting some, that makes sense. Well, that's a good thing to do. It's just, you don't think of all those things.
Yeah, no, but I mean, back in the day, you would go to your plug or your man, and here it would be the guy with the fanny pack that would bust out a scale and a little baggie and says, "Hey, can I get a dime?" Like,
Fanny
yeah.
pack.
So it's a little different nowadays, which I actually prefer, because people who do grow on their own. You don't know what they're growing with. You don't know what kind of soil they're using. You don't know what they're spraying it with.
Yeah.
So having all of those factors, it's like, nah, I'd rather know that I can go to my dispensary. They can pull out a full binder.
Yeah. Like?
And you can get a full test, a full report. You can get the terpenes. You can get the percentage of the actual THC or CBD down to like the 10th decimal or 100th decimal, I should say. Excuse me.
Wowzer.
Yeah. Can you lay down?
What? I was gonna say, why do I feel like you're holding an antler with one arm?
Oh no, she just the way I have everything set up, and my girlfriend is actually not home right now, so
Yeah.
I usually close the bedroom door, and they freak out when they're alone. She doesn't like being, especially the girl. The boy, he doesn't care. He's like,
I'm
she
good.
needs to. Yeah.
Yeah.
She is. Yeah.
I can tell you this, from talking with you, I mean, going to dispensary is the way to go. I mean, it's crazy the regulations that they do have on that. You don't think of that. But to be able to go in and say, show me the report on this. I mean, obviously nobody does, but if you wanted to or were scared your first time, it's nice to know it's there.
Yeah. A majority of the people that work at these dispensaries have a very vast knowledge of what they actually, provide as a product to sell. So at least they should. Yeah. So knowing that, and I can go into one of the dispensaries here and be like, hey, can I see your terpene report for this flower? Or can I see your, what is the other test that they do? I think it's like like I said before, THC or like the cannabinoid system has multiple endocannabinoids in it. So you have THC, THCA, CBD, CBG, Delta 8, all of those things. You can actually, there's an actual report that they print out that'll show you how much percentage is in each of the flowers that they provide. So like CBG is a particular non-psychoactive part of the plant, but it actually gives you that more sedating feel or more relaxed feel. So anybody with anxiety, or I actually had a woman who was coming in as the caregiver for her son who has autism to the point where he was violent with himself.
Yeah.
CBG actually helps to calm those particular nerves.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. So she would always come and ask to see the CBG levels before she purchased a flower. So.
Okay. That's interesting.
Well, it is. And I think it's great the way it's being used for more and more things.
Yeah.
When it can help instead of the stigma of it all, as we go back to before.
Yeah.
Pot,
Yeah.
And that's fine. Call it what you will. If it's helping, it's helping.
Yeah. You can have fun with it. That's fine. But there are actually people that are out there using it for medicinal benefits. So when it does that, they're like, and that you also have to remember that they're coming from the white coat doctors who are like, here, take this pill that is a control every 2 hours or every day, and see me in 2 weeks. Let me see how you're doing. Even though THC isn't as controlled like that, because every plant is different. Whatever they yield is different, percentages wise, terpenes wise, but also a person's endocannabinoid system is different. So you have to play that science role to find that match for your particular situation.
Sure.
So, and I might have asked this on one of the other episodes, but while you're working at a dispensary, like a bar, you can have a drink here and there, or do a shot with a patron. Are you allowed to taste test as you're working?
So when I used to work in California and I worked for a medical dispensary that then went recreational, we actually used to pass around lit joints in the dispensary to the patients and smoke with them. Nice. Yeah. And then we would take bong rips in between patients or on our lunch break. At the medical dispensaries here, regulation wise for the Department of Health, they do not want us actually smoking on premises.
Sure.
But that's every state is different. So until we go recreational, they're a little bit more tight-assed with things.
Yeah, anytime the government's involved, right?
Exactly. So it's like we have to follow certain rules for us to, comply and be able to stay open. But we definitely, we've had patient or employees, like we would give them a sample of something to say, hey, let us know what you think, give us a summarize. But that also is like, that's why they get a discount so that they can actually try the products and then relay how it felt for them to their patients that they talk to after.
Yeah, that
so
makes
it's
sense.
not like right in front of them like this, but they're able to at least sample some before they can be able to sell it.
Like Bill Murray and Tootsie, when he was eating food off, he was a waiter and he was eating food off, and they're like, hey, don't eat the customer's food. And he's like, that way when they ask, do you like the food? Do you eat the food? I can say, yeah, I eat the food off their plate as I'm bringing it out.
But before we go any further, can we go back to bong rips?
Yes.
Somebody took his first one 2 nights ago. So
well, we figured we'd get to it eventually.
And it was in the Hemper. The mushroom Hemper. So shout out to Hemper.
Thank you, Hemper, for my first experience. It was like you've said it many times. They're just beautiful. They're just so nice to look at. And
right.
First one was a little rough.
Okay.
So we had to do it again to make sure.
Okay. Yeah.
And they talked me through it, and I was with good people, and I had a blast passing it around. We had fun doing it.
Awesome.
Coughed the fuck out, the first time I did.
I'm sure the heat alone had hit in the back of the throat. No way.
Yeah.
But they say if you cough and you hit harder, you get stoned faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried any of those freeze pipes that have the cooling? Do they work?
Yeah, they do. Actually, that's probably the best for like if you're sensitive to that heat, people will put ice cubes in their like the long
in the bong water or whatever.
They talk about that.
Yeah.
Because we had to go outside of the house party. But they were talking about that cold water or ice or something. That was I remember that.
Yeah.
As I was hacking, like, hey, maybe we should get him ice.
No, you can't get ice into this bong. The top doesn't come off. So
way too small.
I wish we had it. It's really a neat looking pipe.
It's retired now.
Retired.
So
well, it's because it's so beautiful. Like and because Hemper's nice enough to send us boxes now every month. Like we can retire that one and use it because we don't want them to get all cloudy and shit. We want to
make them pretty. I don't know if you can see them, but above me,
I see it.
I don't want to use them.
Yeah.
They're just too freaking pretty. I just got the whale yesterday.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they have a new blue whale box that's coming. So keep an eye out for that.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I actually have this one. I'm gonna do it. Hold on one second. This one's called a chill hit. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It's kind of dirty, but it has obviously a hole on one side and a hole on the other. It's frozen. But when you buy it, it's the inside is all like a gel that freezes.
The freezer gel, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then for this, because it has a smaller hole, or else it's like a cone, you can actually put it at the top of the bong and then you hit like this.
Oh.
But I have to put a joint at the end. And I hit it this way because the cooling is so much nicer on the throat.
Yeah.
So yes, I love these things.
I'm gonna look for one of those.
Where'd you get that from? Is that the company?
Yeah, I actually when I was living in California, I worked for a delivery service.
Yeah. I remember you talking about this a little bit.
Yeah, I drove around like crazy, but we actually drove from like San Diego area, northern San Diego, all the way up to San Francisco for one of the biggest high times, like a cannabis cup. That's what they call it. So they have like judging of like different waxes and flowers, and people go there to get their machines and all of these different goodies. This guy, I think I paid $30 for this.
Yeah.
And I used it like crazy in LA. I don't use it anymore. At least I haven't in a long time. But so I bought that there.
Nice.
But yeah, they're
It's a good one.
They're great. Yeah. It's better than just putting ice inside. I mean, I know the ice melts eventually in a bong, but you can put this back in the freezer when you're done.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if you're not using that one, do you have a different one that you use for the cooler? Or
No.
you're just not?
I mainly just use cartridges now. It's so much easier.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I've just gotten so lazy.
I see. But I'm glad to hear that from somebody who is as into it as you are, because I feel the same way. Like 90% of the time, I just use a pen because dealing with the flower.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I smoked a joint with my friends yesterday, and
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna hack up a lung, but I didn't. I actually was able to, keep my cool, and I didn't get too high. I haven't smoked flower in a long time. Because every time I roll myself a joint, I can't smoke the whole thing by myself.
Sure.
I'm like 3, 4, maybe 5 hits, and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's gonna finish this? And then I feel like it's wasted because it just doesn't taste the same once you relight it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's like,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like, if you're ever smoking a joint and you're done with it, you put it out, but instead of inhaling, exhale through the joint, and it actually gets rid of all that excess smoke that's in there, and it actually helps the weed to last a little longer. It's really not that much longer though.
Oh.
I have to smoke it like the same day in order for it to, yeah. Otherwise, it just tastes like a burnt cigarette.
Right. Yeah, you get that charred kind of
Sure.
second day. It's like a day old donut. It's just not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Stale.
So, I mean,
Want
there's nothing wrong
fresh.
with a day old donut, but when it's day old weed like that and it's sitting out, no,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. But yes, I do like it though. It's effective. You should definitely try one. It's called Chill Hit. So I don't know if they're still in business though. That was
we will find out.
I'm sure somebody makes one. Yeah.
Yeah. I just see that freeze pipe advertised everywhere, but that's such a big contraption. I'm like, I don't need something like that. But
no. I mean, I love the the volcano with the big parachute and everything, because it's like a more vaporized hit and it's not as strong, but I still cough on that too. So
okay.
Really depends. Maybe.
So before we go, let's talk a little bit about strains. I know on one episode, I don't know if it was a Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard or one of these, but where we talked about the Girl Scout strain and or Girl Scout cookie, and you talking about that being good for menstrual cramps and that sort of thing. I'm just curious, are there, some of the other strands that are out there that are good for this or good for that, or, in
is there a guide?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
That's a great question. I know it's all like trial and error for most people.
Okay.
All of these like tips or suggestions for specific strains, I've just gotten through the grapevine and through actual usage. I did have a patient once that they would smoke Gorilla Glue. And if they didn't, it was like
a strain called Gorilla Glue, or they would actually smoke Gorilla Glue?
No, I'm sorry. There's a strain called Gorilla Glue.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. It's
I was worried for that person for a minute.
Why are we talking about this? No.
Seems like a bad idea.
It just sounded like a bad. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. So yeah, he would come in and he'd be like, I need my Gorilla Glue. If I don't have it, I'm like somebody on steroids who has like those mood swings.
Oh.
So it like almost balance them out. Some people will be like, I can't get out of bed unless I smoke a specific, like, a high sativa strain or whatever. It's all upon the different person, but they have said that, like I said, Girl Scout cookies is great for menstrual cramps. I've also heard like specific, like small dosages of CBD every day, whether it's smoke form or tincture form, doesn't matter which CBD it is. It actually helps to alleviate the symptoms for women who have endometriosis, which is like really bad cramp. Like it's like when you're on your period or you have your menstrual cycle, it's intensified by 100.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a very painful, like debilitating situation for some women. And they say if you take that like a daily vitamin every day at just a small dose, it actually helps to alleviate those when you actually get your cycle. So
well, there alone is great,
right?
for to know.
They say Delta 8, like the specific terpene, actually helps those in chemo or radiation. It helps with the nausea from the actual chemo. So those are just like specific terpenes or endocannabinoids. But if you knock this over, damn dog. She just wants to be a part.
Right.
So I probably would say, like, for me personally, in order for me to like hang out with people, I need a social strain. So sativas, but they have a tendency lately to be a little bit more paranoia for me. So like then I'll go and sink into a shell and I don't want to talk to people. So it really depends. But I
Is that
actually
for the strain or is how much you smoke?
just the strain. So
Oh.
sativas used to be like a cup of coffee for me. Like I could do sativas all
Yeah.
day. I could pump out orders at the store or whatnot and do things. It was great. Now, I don't know if it's because I've gotten older or if it's because I have smoked for so long that over time that just something switched up there. I'm like, the cops are coming for me. Like I freak out. It's nuts. But I do have a few strains personally that I enjoy for their specific feelings and their specific attributes. So there's a couple common ones. I don't know if you've ever heard Rihanna sings about this strain a lot. It's called King Louis the 13th or King Louis.
No.
Very heavy sedating indica.
Oh.
It's a great, yeah. It used to be the only indica that I would smoke to like knock me out. Like I would just, bye, I'm going to sleep. And then let's see, there was also a high sativa that I would smoke in a cartridge. It was called the Laughing Buddha. I'd get the giggles. I'd be happy. Like it was more of like a very uplifting strain for me. So like if I needed a mood changer or if I was going to go and see, family or whatever for an event, then I smoke that. There's times where you have to be in a certain mindset for family. I love you all, but
I 1000% agree.
I don't think anybody would ever disagree with that.
I have learned in the past couple of years, my family is more tolerable if I'm high. Sorry, mom and dad.
Yes. Sorry, not sorry. You know what?
Right.
Time you want to join me? Because that'll be let's see. I also came across, it's a very nice tasting, relaxing strain called Forbidden Fruit.
Okay.
That one's good. It's beautiful. It's like I don't know if you've ever like inspected flower, but there's like specific colors that are inside like specific buds. Forbidden Fruit has purple in it.
Oh, I think I've seen that. We were up at a dispensary in Upper Michigan a few weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, and they they have the jars with the magnifying glass or whatever on the top, so you can really get a good look at the flower. And I remember seeing something that had some purple in it. So.
Yep.
And the difference is that it's a color, but it tastes different. You react different to it. Why do you like the forbidden fruit? Well, we all like the forbidden fruit. But...
Forbidden fruit. It is an indica base, so it's a lot more relaxing for me.
Okay.
But it has like that when it burns, it smells sweet. Its taste is sweet. It's a smooth taste, and again, the smoothness of a flower is based on how it's grown.
Oh,
yeah. So if it's grown in the backyard and it's grown in like harsh environments, it's going to be a little bit more harsh on the throat.
Sure.
And it's so, at least that's my opinion because that's what I've experienced. Sure. So
okay.
Some people can sit there and hit bong rips from, grass they grown in their backyard and they're fine. It's cool. Again,
sure, but if it's catered or if it's babied as it's growing, it's going to be smoother. Okay.
Yeah. It's just
makes sense, but
yeah, it's kind of like if you're processing moonshine in the woods, that shit's like it has a bite, but then you go to like a beautiful distillery that's like everything's clean and everything's done. There's a taste and a quality difference, right?
Yeah,
so true. Sure. So true.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's funny to think.
I hate to compare the two because I always have this debate with people who are like, oh, you smoke weed. And I'm like, yes, you drink.
Yeah.
Which one's better for you? But we're not going to go there.
Right.
To each their own. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that, to be fair, could be one of our next episodes is to discuss the debate of the two.
We can.
And the health and stuff of the two.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'll
come out swinging with that.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking about, girl. Go.
I mean,
get them.
I'm going to save my debate for the debate.
No, I don't want to talk about it right now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We'd probably go for another hour.
Right.
So, let me see. I actually took notes on this. So forbidden fruit is actually, it literally says that it is a mouth-watering cross between a cherry pie and a tangy. So cherry pie is a more indica based. And Tangy is like one of the highest sativas I've ever come across. Besides, ooh, I have a story.
Wait, can I stop you for 1 second? When you say highest sativa, what do you mean by highest?
So personally, when I smoke sativas, the highest sativa meaning it's like the most energizing
Okay.
or the most like where you can feel all of the sativa attributes
Okay.
of it.
Okay.
So like you get the high energy, you get the uplift, you get the euphoria, you also get the anxiety and the paranoia. That's where I'm going with that. Yeah. So okay, so there's a strain that we used to sell in the dispensary in California that I would have. It's called Green Crack. Green Crack. Living on my own. First ever. I used to have a painter come in every day before he went to work and buy Green Crack. And he said, "This is how I get through my day.
Wow.
This is how." Like not painting like an artist, like an actual like painter,
Like a house painter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask.
So it's like that was like their cup of coffee. That's the way they stay awake. That's the way they stay motivated and get through the day. Great. I took some home. It was Thanksgiving time. I made my first full Thanksgiving vegan meal for myself. Holy crap. I made the entire meal in a matter of 4 hours. To the meat, to the pie, the fake meat, but the fake meat, all the fixings, and the pie with this green crap. And I was like, revelation. I totally understand why you smoke this every day. I get it. Totally get it. So here is a cross between my cannabis journey and the Playboy Mansion.
All right.
Yes.
First time I ever smoked outside of Hawaii was at the Playboy Mansion.
Nice.
It was with one of the girls. I was there in the guest house, there for the weekend. I think I was testing. I don't think I was actually a playmate yet, but every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we do movie night and dinner with Hef and all of his friends, people that come up to the house. And we went to her friend beforehand, given she's LA native. She's been there for a while. So I just went as, for along for the ride. I go to this guy's office. He's got those big stand up safes open, weed pouring out. And I'm just like, can I just have a little bit? Just a little bit. So she takes them home and we smoke it at the guest house, and it's Maui Wowie.
Okay.
Great strain, right? Great strain. This is where I'm telling you, strains can be deceiving. Thinking, oh, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to enjoy.
It's a great name, Maui Wowie.
Yeah, hello. So I'm sitting there, I'm at dinner, eating dinner, and movie, it's movie time. Or that's usually what Hef says, or it's showtime before we all go into the movie room and we sit down and we watch a movie. So he has all these big red cushions laid out in front of the screen, the big projector screen, in front of his sofa, and I lay on the cushions. I think I had popcorn, or he used to have milk chocolate raisinets. Love those things. God. So I think I was eating one or the other, and I was laying there, and the movie starts. I watched about 2 minutes. The next minute I know, I hear, and I wake up, and I'm like, what's going on? I passed out for the entire movie.
That's perfect.
Like, oh no. So I guess it made me sleepy. And then
Did
I woke
anybody
up.
notice?
Do you snore?
I hope I wasn't snoring. Nobody said anything. And
Then you're
I
good.
remember after the movie, he always has like sandwiches, like peanut butter and jelly, or like ham sandwiches.
I love the way that guy lived.
Oh.
I literally downed like maybe 4 sandwiches. I was like, okay, I think I should probably go to bed now.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So, I mean, strains are great. I love them. I'm a little picky nowadays just because I know how they feel on me. But God, I remember trying like every day after the work day. I'd be like, I want to try that one and that one and that one. I would take home like a gram of each, and I would just test them out. It really helps when you're able to discuss it with people afterwards. But
That's a good point. Yeah. So was your goal to like when you were working there? I'm going to try every strain.
Yes.
Okay.
I started with flower, and then I was really, really like, I mean, when I remember first seeing like the whole dab rig contraption in my cousin's truck, and he just, the middle console between the two seats, he just pulled it out of this thing, and it's like this, and then he pulls out the blowtorch, and I'm like, are you a crackhead? What are you doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And he just laughs at me. And I mean, the kid was stoned for hours. And I was like, I'm too nervous to try that shit. No, thank you. So I had to work my way up the line of different things. I mean, before I moved back home, I was very naive about shatters and rosins and all of that. So I didn't know what I was doing. But I do remember trying my first bit of hash. So it was like bubble hash, and it was fresh water bubble hash or freshwater pressed hash. And the woman told me she used to just put it in her hookah and she would just sip on it. So I put it in my little bubbler and I just sipped on it. Holy fuck. I'm so stoned. And I was like, okay. And we sell it by the gram or half gram, I think. I think I only grabbed a gram and I took a little piece of that. That fucking shit lasted me like 4 months. I was like, I'm so glad this stuff doesn't go bad so quickly, because this is insane.
That's perfect.
So I mean, it's definitely a ladder of what you're comfortable with and what you're willing to try. But I definitely fell in love with edibles there. That's why I love edibles the way as I do, because I could bite a part of a Rice Krispie treat and I could drive around and do deliveries and I was fine, know? I mean, I felt a little bit in my body, but that was it.
Yeah.
Everything up here was like, all right, I'm clear. This is great. I was way more comfortable on the road, everything. So I definitely tried. Oh, I tried to try everything before I left that store, but
yeah, for sure.
Did you succeed? It seemed like it was hard, but
I did not.
There seems to be.
Does anybody know how many strains there are?
Every time we talk, we hear more.
I don't know, honestly. So I have learned like certain different engines or resources to use to find. Leafly has been very helpful for me to get like general information for strains.
Okay.
But I feel like there is a new strain coming out every day because people are crossing multiple plants. It's like you get a 3-plant cross, you get a 2-plant cross or whatever. Yeah. It's like, I haven't come across a good Maui Wowie since.
Oh,
okay.
Like,
really?
Like just a plain Maui Wowie. It's always a cross of something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The OGs have run their course. All the OGs are now combined with something else, and
exactly, like you can't find the pure. So there was I was watching a show. It was Dan Aykroyd was like a guest appearance on the show because he used to sing with the guy's brother. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Jim Belushi show?
Belushi. That's it. See, stoner brain. Good to have a co-pilot. So I was watching his show, and one of their missions was to get their OG strains in a pre-roll package to sell. But before that, they had to go to all the origins of these places to find the pure strain. Does that make sense? So they had to find the seed or they find the clone or whatever, and then take it back to their farm and reproduce it. So
that's a good in, because I've talked about getting Jim Belushi on too.
Oh, okay. There.
See, you should do. Yeah,
he's big into it. He's got a farm, and I know you're touching on.
I was watching that show and everything. I was like, this is cool. I mean, but everybody's getting into it, and a lot of people who come into like the stores, business ADD. People would come and say, how do you get into this business? Like, how can I make my money? And a lot of what I learned is they like, oh, I want to invest in stocks. Everybody's about, putting money, investing in stocks. A lot of it is not just the plant itself, but it's the equipment that takes to grow it.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's
with
huge
money. Yeah. Or
that's
even
the thing.
To produce like wax and stuff too.
Yeah. The science has become so crazy that, the plants are starting to become secondary to the science, unfortunately.
Yeah. And exactly. It's like you have all of these, you have the younger generation who's coming into this is like, oh, this is a science. making these really not complicated, but complex strains with multiple other strains. And it's like, I really just miss the 5-finger bags of just the one strain.
Are we getting too fancy? I mean, is it getting too fancy? Do they just
It's a lot like the craft beer thing, you know?
Yeah.
You know, now they're
or
making
the seltzers.
Peanut butter asparagus stouts, you know, like I think we've gone way too far with craft beer. I think, you know, it sounds like weed is starting to go that direction too, where
it's great, but at the same time, can we perfect what we had already created? Does that make sense? So it's like, I can get a dispensary regulated, fully tested, nice high percentage of THC Maui Wowie, or Gorilla Glue is actually its own strain. What is the other one? There's a couple like Thai stick, or not Thai stick, but I think it's just the Thai. There's another one. Tangy could, I mean, like just strictly those strains, I would be in heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the mixes are great. Like Laughing Buddha is great. I have yet to find that on this island.
Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, not going to say it on here, but there are ways of getting it. I'm just not, you know,
That's
I got to be safe.
That's right.
Gotta be safe, you gotta be scared.
Yeah. But I mean, even the ocean strains for us being here in Hawaii, it's like the ocean strains are very few and far between again. Like now, because of everything that's going on, it's hard to find the originals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that to me is very interesting. The whole
you know, you
you
start to drift so far from what started.
Got you here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you
again.
I think we've learned a lot this episode. I want to encourage people to
every episode my brain is just going, what the fuck?
I want to encourage people to
just think if we're stoned when we're talking about this, like extra stoned. I could go on for hours.
Do we want to? I'm gonna throw it out there. Like before we meet at a time, let's say we just all get really stoned before we get on.
It depends how
look at her. We're doing it. If she says yes, it's yes. I don't care what you say.
I will do it on here if that makes it better.
I wasn't gonna.
Well, I didn't know the timing. You know, like
I wasn't gonna say no.
I didn't.
I mean, technically, you kind of already fulfilled that coming on here as stoned as you were this, you know.
Right.
I
just had a few glasses of wine.
I had a few drifts. So
I would love to see you stoned. Would love to see you stoned. Yeah.
So let's mark that one up too. Just the bullshit episode of getting stoned. I guess the reason I said that was like prior to. I don't know. You know, the effect that I guess I don't want to start smoke.
Yeah.
Boom! It doesn't hit us for an hour or whatever. I don't know. That you guys are the experts. You tell us the right.
Yeah, I would.
Or even the strain to smoke will do that. The same thing.
Ooh, okay. The same strain.
Yeah.
Maybe. We can then talk about how we each feel.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
So, but the thing is I mean, when I smoke, my brain is like, pew, 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 pew. So it's like I run off on tangents, or I'll forget what we're talking about when we go on to another topic.
That's fine.
So,
that's fine.
We can keep each other on topic or on track. I'm good.
Good luck.
But you understand, you're gonna go pew, and you'd be like, "Where was I?" And he's gonna say, "I don't know," and I'm gonna go, "I'm not sure." So what does it matter?
You were right here. So
we'll just be a bunch of friends smoking together.
Right.
All right.
So let's encourage people to actually ask questions. We haven't been having a lot of success with that.
Let's go.
So if you're watching this and you see us ask for questions, ask your questions. We'd love to answer them.
There's never a stupid question. Please know that.
Exactly.
Never.
And I'm an example of that because I ask the stupidest ones of all, always.
No. And I also want to encourage people to go check out Last Prisoner Project. We're going to have an episode with Stephanie Shepard coming up soon. So go check them out and do what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And check out Ashley.
Yeah. Yes, I'll be here.
Awesome.